Writing during the Space Age and Cold War, Arthur C. Clarke was a hugely influential writer, visionary, and futurist. Born in the small seaside town of Minehead in the southwest of England in 1917, Clarke developed a love of stargazing and American science fiction literature as a young boy. This boyish interest later sparked into a lifelong enthusiasm in the field of space studies, and in 1936, Clarke joined the British Interplanetary Society. There he began working with astronautic material while also finding time to begin writing his own science fiction stories for magazines. In 1948, his first novella, Against the Fall of Night, was published. This would eventually lead to a multitude of literary contributions by Clarke surrounding space-age technologies, including, but not limited to, the screenplay for 2001, A Space Odyssey, and the preceding novel of the same name, as well as the hugely popular and award-winning novel Rendezvous with Rama. As a futurist, Clarke was able to make use of the technological innovations of his time to postulate how these technologies could or should be advanced. Writing over 100 books and articles, Clarke has often been likened to Leonardo da Vinci in the way he was able to influence a variety of subjects including art, literature, invention, and scientific inquiry. Clarke's most notable work, co-writing the screenplay for the 1968 epic science fiction film 2001: A Space Odyssey, was loosely based on his previous short story, The Sentinel. The film depicts a voyage to Jupiter and conveys themes of existentialism, human evolution, technological advancement, artificial intelligence, and extraterrestrial beings. While 2001: A Space Odyssey is by far Clarke's most famous work, in 1975, Rendezvous with Rama won the three most esteemed literary awards of the science fiction genre: the Hugo, the Nebula, and the Jupiter, presented by science fiction fans, writers, and teachers respectively. Thus, Rendezvous with Rama is Clarke's most acclaimed work. In 1969, Clarke joined Walter Cronkite on a CBS television broadcast of the Apollo 11 moon landing. On the program, Clarke discussed some of his past statements regarding the future of space exploration, and also what he believed was still to come, mainly extraterrestrial life and technology to sustain life on other planets. One must be careful not to call the statements Clarke made predictions, as he did not label them as such. In an interview, Clarke was asked what he thought of the media agents referring to his work as predictions, to which he responded that he preferred to call them extrapolations, as the real question he's answering is, if the present trends continue, what would happen? One of the extrapolations Clarke made regarding the moon landing and further space exploration was that the moon would not be the final destination. He believed that if settlement could not be sustained on the moon, climate control technologies could be developed for other planets. 2001: A Space Odyssey was published in 1964, prior to the successful Apollo 11 mission. Despite this, in the novel, Clarke extrapolates from the technology already in existence at the time that travel to and life on the moon was not so far-fetched. Clarke also believed that exploring space further could lead to contact with extraterrestrial beings, a belief he portrayed in 2001: A Space Odyssey. This belief is what prompted Clarke to famously state, "Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not. Both are equally terrifying." However, within the story, Clarke also addresses the dangers of advancing technology. HAL 9000 is a supercomputer designed to operate the Discovery 1 spacecraft. HAL malfunctions and proceeds to cut the astronauts off from their life-sustaining technologies. In 1999, the Disney show Recess paid tribute to HAL 9000 when they introduced SAL 3000 to the fictional 3rd Street School. Following the same pattern as HAL, SAL also malfunctioned and caused havoc within the school, thus showing that even 35 years later, the world still was not ready for the amount of artificial intelligence that Clarke was envisioning. Towards the end of Clarke's film, there is an attempted nuclear attack on the Earth. Clarke drew inspiration from the Cold War technologies being developed in the 1950s and 1960s, concluding that nuclear weapons would create wars between and within nations that would result in nuclear destruction. In line with his extrapolation regarding exploration further into space, Clarke published Rendezvous with Rama in 1973, just 4 years after the Apollo 11 moon landing. The story, set in the year 2131, is told from the point of view of human space enthusiasts and explorers, not unlike Clarke himself, who intercept an alien spaceship. The interception portrayed in the novel depicted the first human interaction with extraterrestrial life, an event that coincided with remarks Clarke made on the BBC program Horizon in 1964, when he mused of the wonderful opportunities space travel and technology could provide, coexistence with extraterrestrials included. Clarke used this novel to convey his confidence in the space program and his belief that it deserved to continue. Clarke faithfully supported the space program, stating, "The danger of asteroid or comet impact is one of the best reasons for getting into space. I'm very fond of quoting my friend Larry Niven. The dinosaurs became extinct because they didn't have a space program. And if we become extinct because we don't have a space program, it'll serve us right." In 2013, Rendezvous with Rama caught the interest of actor Morgan Freeman, who expressed the desire to adapt the book into a movie, which he would produce. In an interview, Freeman called the book one of the best science fiction books ever. However, currently there is no release date for a film. After Clarke's death in 2008, Joseph Pelton and John Langston, both of George Washington University, wrote of Clarke's career, stating, "He was able, decade after decade, to generate prescient insights into the scientific and social worlds. He skipped merrily and with equal aplomb from the world of imagination to that of science and technology." And through it all, Arthur C. Clarke was able to remain optimistic of the human condition, a characteristic that set him apart from his contemporaries. He adamantly believed that the human race had the ability to make life better and peaceful through the development of science and technology.